In this video, we're going to talk about surface area of pyramids and cones. So what is a pyramid? It's a solid with one base and faces that meet at a point. So in the previous video, I was talking about prisms and cylinders. They have two bases, whereas a pyramid only has one. And just like prisms, the shape of the base determines the period's name. Okay, so let's look at here. This is your pyramid, so it has one base and all the faces meet at a point. So here's how you'll find the surface area, which means you're covering all the surfaces. Okay, so this part right here is your lateral area. Your lateral area, as we discussed previously, means it's the area that doesn't include the base. So not including the bottom right here. So you would have to take half. That L represents your slant height. So right here, your slant height, times the perimeter of the base, whatever the base is, find the perimeter, plus that big B right here means it's going to be the area of the base. So depending on the shape of your base, you'll use the correct formula that applies to that. Okay, so let's start practicing. Find the surface area of the following pyramids. So looking at here, this is my pyramid, my base, because these two have the same dimensions, I know this is a square. So this is called a square pyramid, okay? So I can write that down. So this is a square pyramid. Okay, so now let's go ahead and find the surface area. All we're going to do is apply the formula. So surface area equals the 1/2 my slant height. I'm going to put it like this in cursive because if not, it looks like a 1. So it's going to be times the perimeter plus the area of the base. So before I go ahead and substitute all my values in, let me go ahead and label what I have. Okay, so we know this is my base. So my slant height means whatever the height is slanted. So this is L. So my L is 11.7. So I have that. Now I need the perimeter of my base. This is a square. So perimeter means you're just counting all the sides and adding them together. Now because I have 4 sides and they're all going to be 8, I'm just going to multiply that. So the perimeter is going to be 8 times 4. So that's going to give me 32. So I have my p-value. And now all I need is the area of the base. So again, this is a square. So that basically it just means it's 8 squared because the length times width, 8 times 8. So for the big B is just 8 squared, 8 times 8. So that'll give me 64. So now I have all my values. I could go ahead and substitute them in my formula. So it's half of my slant height, 11.7, times my perimeter, which was 32, plus the area of my base. And now it's your order of operations. So go ahead and, it doesn't matter which order you do it. I usually multiply them, then divide it by 2. You do half of 11.7, doesn't matter. So this part is going to equal to 187.2 plus 64. So my surface area is going to equal to 251.2. Now you need your units. My units here are meters. I put meters. Surface area deals with 2D, so it's going to be squared. You always square for area, your units. So that's the answer for the first one. Okay, now that was a square pyramid. Let's look at example 2. When I look at my base, I see a triangle. So this is called, you'll either hear it as a triangular pyramid or a tetrahedron. Okay, so either name. There's only 2 examples here, but just know there's a lot with different bases. You have a hexagon as a base, octagon, etc. Or you might hear it as tetrahedron. Okay, so even if the base is different, it doesn't make a difference. Well, it does, but I mean, like, you're still using the same formula, just when it comes to the area, that's the only thing that changes. Okay, so I'm going to write down the formula again. So we have surface area equals half of my slant height times the perimeter plus the area of the base. So let's go ahead and identify what we have. So let's look, what is my slant height here? You see a height here in this triangle, and I see a height here. That's from the base, so don't look at that, okay? So the slant height of this whole shape right now is 12.2. Okay, so that's my slant height. I need the perimeter. The perimeter right here is the base. So I see 7, 7, 7. So that means it's an equilateral triangle since all the sides are congruent. So instead of doing 7 plus 7 plus 7, I'm just going to do 7 times 3. So my perimeter is 21 centimeters. Now I need to find the area of my base. It's a triangle. So I'm not going to do length times width or anything like that. A triangle, the area of a triangle is half times base times height. So it's half, the little b, the base times height. So I'm just going to substitute our values. So half of the base, 7, times the height. You're looking for that vertical line. So that the height is going to be 6.1. Multiply this across. So the area of your triangle is going to equal to 21.35. And now substitute. Half of my slant height, 12.2. The perimeter is 21 plus the area of the base. Multiply these numbers. You could, again, it doesn't matter which order you do it. Just know you're taking half it, you're dividing by 2. So this part is going to equal to 128.1 plus 21.35. So my surface area, the surface area here is going to equal to 149.45 units. So let's think centimeters. We're dealing with area squared. So no matter what kind of base you have, the rest is still the same. Just make sure you're using the correct formula for the area of the base when you deal with pyramids. Okay, now let's talk about a specific pyramid. A cone. A cone is a pyramid with a circular base. So that specifically means a cone. Okay, now let's look at the formula here. The surface area is pi r squared plus pi times r, which is your radius, by the way, and the slant height. Now, the lateral area means it's the area, the surface area, not including the base. So my base here is a circle, right? So the area of a circle is pi r squared. So that's the area of the base, and that's the lateral area, which means not the base, pi r times your slant height. Okay, so let's find the surface area of the following cones. Let's go ahead and write the formula out so we could plug in our values. So surface area equals pi r squared. So that's the area of the circle, so the area of the base. Now we're going to add the lateral area, which is pi times r times the slant height. Okay, so I need my radius. Radius means it's from the center point and touches the edge of the circle. So only half of it. So we have this whole thing is 27, so I don't need the 27, that's a diameter. So my diameter is 27, so to find the radius, you divide it by 2. Divide this by 2, and you're going to get 13.5, so that's my radius, so I have that now. And then all you need is your slant height. The slanted height is right here, so it's 32.9. And now we're going to plug it in our formula. Pi times my radius, which is 13.5 squared, plus pi times my radius times my slant height. Okay, so first, let's go ahead and do order of operations. I'm going to go ahead and square the 13.5. So you'll get 182.25 times pi. And for now, I'm going to still keep the pi. I'm going to keep things in terms of pi so it'll be more accurate. So I'm going to multiply my numbers out. So I have 444.15 pi. Now, if you want, you could go ahead and multiply by pi, find your answer, multiply by pi, find your answer, then add them. But I want to be as accurate as I can, so instead, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to combine like terms. So it's 182.25 pi plus 444.15 pi. I'm going to combine them to see how many pi's I have. So I have 626.4 pi. Now, because the answer didn't tell me to leave in terms of pi, but if they did, that would be the final answer. But now we're going to use it as a decimal. So you're going to multiply that out, and I'm going to round to the nearest 100. So when you multiply that out, you get 1,967.893, and it keeps going, right? So if I want to round to the nearest 100, that means after the decimal 2 places, I stop here. Because the number afterwards is not 5 or greater, I don't round up. So my surface area equals 1,967.89 units millimeters squared. So this, if they say leave in terms of pi. So if ever you see that, that means they want the answer with pi in it. Okay, so that's your answer. And lastly, we have the last example, another cone. We're going to find the surface area. So again, I will write the formula out. Pi r squared plus pi r times your slant height. Okay, so let's see what we have. Let's look for our slant height. I mean, that's all we need, a slant height and a radius. Okay, so we have 2 heights. I see this height is 25.2, and I see this height. Now, don't overthink it. It's called slant height. So you're looking for a height that's slanted. So this is your slant height. The inside, that's a vertical height. So you're looking for your slant height. So L for this one is going to be 27.3. Now, to find your radius, so let's think about this. The radius is from the center of your circle to a point on the circumference of the circle, like the outer rim. We don't have that. Now, this is considered a radius, like from here to there, but that's not going to help me. Notice here I have that square. That looks like it's going to be a right angle. So I'm looking for my radius. I'm going to draw it. I'll label that R. This is my radius. Now, because I have the radius, I have right here, that's 25.2, and I have this length, 27.3. This is a right triangle, if you could see this. Right here. This is a right triangle now. So we're going to go ahead and use Pythagorean theorem to help us find R, only because the radius was not given. So let's see, where can I write this? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now, remember, C is the hypotenuse, which is right across the right angle. And then the other 2 are just the legs, so it doesn't matter what you replace for A or B. So I have plus 25.2 squared equals 27.3 squared. So go ahead and square your terms, do the exponents. So you're doing 25.2 times itself, because it's going to be squared. So you're going to get 635.04. And then 27.3 squared, you're going to get 700. Oops, let's see if I can make it. 29. That's 745.29. I want to solve for R, so I want that to be by itself. I know it's squared, so it's like, what do I do? Just pretend it's not there for now. Normally, if you want R by itself, take care of this addition. You want to move it over, so you're going to go ahead and subtract it on both sides. So R could be by itself. Oh boy, too much in the corner. So R squared equals, when you subtract that, you'll get 110.25. I don't want R squared, I just want R. So you have to do the opposite operation. So if it's square, the opposite will be square root. So I'm going to square root on both sides. So that means R will equal to 10.5. So now I know what my slant height is and my radius, and now easy part, plug it in like we've been doing. Pi, so my radius now is 10.5 squared plus pi 10.5 times my slant height, 27.3. I'm going to go ahead and square 10.5 first. So you get 110.25 pi plus, I'm going to multiply these and still leave the pi. I'm doing that now. Now again, if you want to go ahead and multiply with pi first, multiply with pi, then add them, you could do that. But I'm going to keep them in terms of pi until my last step. So I'm going to add, you get 396.9 pi. So that's if you want to leave in terms of pi. And if you want to put as a decimal, which we're going to do now, we multiply it out. I'm going to round to the nearest hundred. So you get 1,246.898, blah, blah, blah. Oh, sorry about that. So now, because I want to round it to the nearest hundred and specify, but I'm going to round to the nearest hundred. If I stop right here with a 9, I want, because this is 5 or greater, I'm rounding up. So instead of 89, that becomes 90. You can leave it as 0.9, but I'm just going to leave it as 0.90 since I'm going to round to the nearest hundred. And my units, inches squared. So this is pretty much the basics for surface area of pyramids and cones. In the next video, I'm going to give you examples with like word problems dealing with surface areas of pyramids and cones.